Okay, let's dive into this. Think about the very first thing you do when you wake up and, the very last thing you do before your head hits the pillow. For most of us, brushing our teeth is just this completely mindless habit, right? We're on autopilot. Squeeze the tube, brush, rinse, and boom, we're done. But how often do we actually stop and think about what we're putting into our mouths twice a day, every single day? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating shift that's happening right now at the bathroom sink.
So, what's the actual difference between traditional toothpaste and clean oral care? It sounds like a simple question, but honestly, the answer reveals two completely different worlds. Today, we're going to look at the traditional oral care models we all grew up with, and we'll place them side by side with the emerging philosophy of clean oral care. Specifically, we're looking at the framework built by a brand called the Texas Toothpaste, created by Sheer Alternatives. Now, just to be clear, our goal here absolutely isn't to shame anyone for using the same toothpaste they've used since they were a kid, not at all. Instead, think of this as an awakening journey. We're going to explore what it looks like to make a highly intentional choice about something we use every single day.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the daily habit. Then, packaging and the planet. Number 3, inside the formula. 4, the sensory experience. 5, purpose and philosophy. And finally, the intentional switch. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The daily habit, reevaluating the status quo.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference. For generations, our expectations of oral care have been completely shaped by mass marketing. I mean, we're so used to these bright artificial colors and the ultimate convenience factor. But when you look at the clean oral care paradigm, it's anchored in something much, much deeper. We're talking intentional living, environmental stewardship, and total ingredient awareness. It's a massive shift from just, getting the job done to actually understanding our holistic impact.
Section 2. Packaging and the planet. Beyond the tube. Get this, every single year, literally billions of plastic squeeze tubes end up sitting in landfills or floating in our oceans, mostly because they're incredibly difficult to recycle. And this is exactly where the clean oral care philosophy takes a step back to move forward. By completely ditching the plastic tube in favor of reusable, recyclable glass jars, brands like the Texas Toothpaste are eliminating microplastics right at the sink, all while bringing in a really elegant, earth-friendly aesthetic. Shifting from those disposable plastic squeeze tubes to sustainable glass jars? Well, it isn't just about making your bathroom counter look like a premium apothecary, though, hey, it definitely does that too. It's actually an empowered, daily choice to reduce unnecessary waste. It really proves that the packaging of a product is a direct reflection of the whole philosophy behind it.
Section 3. Inside the formula. Transparency over synthetics.
Now, what's really interesting here is how this clean oral care commitment bluntly challenges the whole industry standard. It's actually defined by what it leaves out just as much as what it puts in. No fluoride, no SLS, which, by the way, stands for sodium lauryl sulfate, no artificial dyes, and 0 synthetic preservatives. It operates on this really simple core belief. What you put in your mouth matters profoundly.
When we contrast the two, it's pretty wild. The traditional ingredient list often reads like a college chemistry textbook, right? It's full of foaming agents, chemical binders, and artificial sweeteners. But the clean approach, it demands total transparency. It uses simplified formulas made entirely of recognizable food-grade elements. The whole idea is that you absolutely shouldn't have to call poison control if you accidentally swallow a little bit of your toothpaste. Let's look exactly at what makes up the Texas Toothpaste formula. It's an oil-based blend, and it features organic coconut oil, baking soda, xylitol, organic peppermint oil, cold-pressed clove oil, and food-grade hydrogen peroxide. And because they intentionally leave out stuff like glycerin, these recognizable earth-derived ingredients work seamlessly together. They naturally support your enamel and fight bacteria to leave your mouth genuinely fresh and soothe your gums, relying entirely on nature instead of synthetic chemicals.
Section 4. The sensory experience. Redefining clean. Because the ingredients are fundamentally different, the actual physical act of brushing changes too. And the number one question consumers ask when they make this switch is, wait, why doesn't it foam? Think about it. We have spent our entire lives associating this heavy, sudsy foam with the feeling of getting clean. But those suds, they're usually just the result of a synthetic detergent. So, the crucial point is that the lack of artificial foam is actually a massive, intentional benefit. Without that SLS, the toothpaste relies on a bold, clean, oil-based mouthfeel. No, it doesn't foam up like laundry detergent, but the baking soda, the essential oils, and the peroxide all work together to leave your mouth feeling incredibly fresh and authentically clean, entirely without that weird chemical residue.
Section 5. Purpose and philosophy. The ethos of care.
Moving beyond just this sensory brushing experience, this whole movement is anchored in trust and knowing who actually makes your product. I absolutely love this quote from the source material. "Don't nobody make toothpaste like Texas," right? It perfectly captures that gritty, authentic farm-to-product ethos behind sheer alternatives. It really speaks to a deep, Southern integrity, a promise that they simply aren't cutting corners just to hit mass-market margins.
The source documents show us that this is a true, small-batch, handcrafted operation based right out of Dallas and Forney, Texas. It's veteran-owned, it's family-run, and it's explicitly built on a foundation of faith, integrity, and really strong community values. So when people buy into this, they aren't just buying toothpaste. They're actually casting a vote for local economies, small business resilience, and holistic family wellness.
Section 6. The intentional switch, empowering your choice.
Let's move to our final points and see how this builds into something bigger and why this movement is gaining so much incredible momentum right now. Once you get past that initial surprise of the new texture and the lack of foam, the whole customer experience transforms. It elevates from just basic visual stimulation, like, squeezing brightly striped paste out of a tube, to genuine ingredient confidence. You get that fresh breath and clean feeling from materials you can actually trust.
So, what are the big actionable takeaways from our deep dive today? First up, start reading your ingredient labels. Yes, even on the things you don't swallow. Second, take a moment to rethink those mindless, everyday habits. Third, look for little opportunities to choose intentionally and sustainably. And finally, if this philosophy resonates with you, exploring a clean option like the Texas toothpaste is a really fantastic place to start.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. Sometimes the absolute biggest difference isn't found entirely inside the glass jar, but in the mindset that put it there in the first place. Choosing clean oral care is just as much about embracing environmental stewardship and your personal health as it is about simply brushing your teeth.
Which leads us to our final question for you. Take a look at your own bathroom sink tonight. Think about the habits you've just inherited versus the choices you've actively made. Are you ready to approach your daily routines a little more intentionally? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating topic with us today. Keep asking great questions, and we'll see you in the next explainer.